Hi, I'm Kat French. I am the owner of Cat French Design and 2x4 Custom Homes out of Chapel Hill, North Carolina. I started um, in a psych degree, actually, and I was really interested in people. I was really interested in kind of their quirks. What makes people people, and why are we so different? How are we similar? What are those, different layers? And I also kind of fell into sculpture and I fell into the fine arts and just really loved it and enjoyed it a lot. So when I graduated from undergrad, I realized that I needed to do something creative. I needed to be able to work with people. And this just felt like the right field. I went and got a Master's of Fine Arts from University of North Carolina at Greensboro. They had an interior architecture program, and with a historic preservation specialization. And so that's actually the pathway I ended up taking. I think the way I approach interiors, it's more of the way that you think. So I went to what I learned in design school was a different way to think. So one of my favorite professors, he always had the motto fail faster. And what he meant by that was just this idea of like an iterative process, right? So as you're kind of starting to approach this project and you're starting to pull all your variables together, how do you iterate? How do you kind of come quickly to, okay, here are some options? And I've used that mindset a lot, actually, in our process. So, one of the first meetings that we have with our clients is something I call Spaghetti Day. And where they come in and I make them get out of their house. They have to come to us. They have to come to our studio, right? So they're no longer thinking, oh gosh, this one little thing that I'm like hyper fixated. We're not looking at that. We're looking at the plans. We're talking through options as far as layouts based on kind of what they've given us. And then we put a lot of images up because we're very visual. So we put a lot of images up on the board. That's the Spaghetti Day part of it, where we try to see what sticks, right? And so in that, they get Sharpies. We walk them through it. And I'm trying to get no's, I'm trying to get yeses. Really awesome things come out of these conversations. So I've had, clients who are like, I can't handle velvet, or I need lots of layers, or I don't like curves, I need straight lines, and what are the things that they're disagreeing? If it's a couple, what are they disagreeing on? And so I'm trying really quickly, that iterative process, right? I'm trying really quickly to get them to what is their aesthetic happy place, what are the no's, what are the yeses. It's been a really great, successful, really fun exercise. I've partnered with an accredited master builder here in North Carolina who's got 3 decades of building experience. He does his bread and butter in more large estate homes. But we are very similar in a lot of different ways. We're very similar in process. We're very similar in kind of how we talk to clients about the process. What I really enjoy working with him about is we refuse to give any sort of here's an actual price, go into contract on this speculative price until we've actually done all the design work, we've picked out all the selections, and now we're working with actuals. So it helps keep timelines for construction much more realistic, much more manageable. Budgets are understood in advance. We've had a lot of those conversations up front, and that just sets our trades up for success. That sets us up for success. So that's one of the, I guess, ways that we've really kind of approached it. He and I worked on a project together, oh gosh, 7 years ago, I think. And just really, the process worked really well. And we just kept working on things together. And it became very obvious that we would probably be better suited if we just combined forces. And kind of my skill sets and his skill sets are very complementary. And so it's been a great relationship so far. It's very exciting to see the clients really enjoy the fact that we're kind of it's the same team. A lot of the conversations in-house are already, it's less translations that we have to do because we kind of have that expectation and that understanding. it goes back to the planning stage of it, right? So having these early conversations of where is your primary bathroom? How do you access it? Where is your zero threshold shower? Where are the grab bars going to be located? Can we block for that early on? It's a lot of these early planning conversations. These are things that we actually bring into every project. We have these conversations with every project. Where we can have best control over that is actually when we're building the home from the ground up, because that's a lot of in that new construction portion of it. And that's where that was the one that we won the award for. But that has a lot to do with Chad, my business partner on the construction side of things. This is a non-negotiable when you come to work with us, is we are going to have at least one entrance into the home that's zero threshold, right? All of the door widths need to be large enough. You know, we're not in here with 2-4 doors, right? We need to be large enough that you can actually get a wheelchair through. We're talking through a lot of conversations of layers of lighting. How are the threshold changes as far as flooring goes? Where are you reaching? Where is your bench seat? Where is the grab bars? It's just a lot of it. These are layers of details for accessible design that seem scary or really, I don't know, complicated, but they're really not, as long as you're having those conversations early on and you're having an opportunity to plan for them. The other thing is people think of accessible design as aging in place. And it's not. I mean, my husband, sprained his ankle and he was on crutches, right? So getting up and down the stairs, that was a challenge, right? So how do we also talk about that if it's a 2-story, or where's your access points? Like, can we, even if you don't put an elevator in, can we, in the framing stage, can we go ahead in the foundation stage, go ahead and block for that and have a space for that? It's just, there's different things that to kind of think through in different ways to kind of have these considerations earlier on, and again, it's not just aging, right? It's really truly like, okay, I have limited mobility because I had surgery, or I had limited mobility because of XYZ, right? And it's how can we set everybody up for success? My daughter, she's 7, and she and I are currently going back and rewatching all of Ina Garten's old lake shows. And she's obsessed and I'm obsessed, and we are trying to convince each other that we clearly need a garden within a garden within a garden, right? But I do think she would be a lovely human just to have, even if it's just a small project, just to be able to have that moment to talk and say, okay, how do you set up your kitchen? How do you entertain? What are those different ways that we can kind of talk through that? And then is there a way that we can kind of collaborate and elevate something? The other person, I'm here in Chapel Hill, so it's basketball is a big deal. And I actually listen to a lot of what I call the old man sports podcasts religiously. And they interview the head coach, his name's Hubert Davis, a lot. And I think he would be a really interesting person to design for as well. Just the programmatic requirements of being able to have all of those really tall young men over all the time, and how do you set that up for? And he's a self-proclaimed introvert as well, so it's also a really interesting combination of kind of how do you create spaces for yourself versus entertaining, and what does that look like? I don't know. That would be a really fun person in my mind. I had to ask the group for this one, but I weld actually. And so in undergrad, I welded. That was the sculpture portion of the early training, and did a public art project, and it made a 12-foot arch, and it's on public display at the university, kept it, and it's still there. You can walk underneath it. So yeah, I weld.